Hey everyone, welcome back to Little Shop of Nerds. It's Mike.
Julia, and Noelle is here to visit too. I'm sure you all like to see Noelle.
Today we're going to talk. What's today's hint, Jules?
So today's hint is Hard Candy Christmas.
Yes, we're going to be talking about how can I say, not so much of a good musical, but hey, you watch it because you're bored anyway.
I mean, I thought it was pretty good.
I give it a 5 out of 10, but we'll save that till later. Called The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Yeah, so...
And before you say... Yes, we are doing this whole month of February. We're doing movies to watch during Valentine's Day, and you're saying why this one? I'm like, fuck it, horrors need loving too.
Well, it does have a romance storyline. They're just kind of dense, to say the least.
And also, people fuck on Valentine's Day sometimes, so might as well do something with it.
Yeah, so this stars Dolly Parton and Burt Reynolds
And
as the leads.
If you don't know who Dolly Parton is, she's famous country singer.
I think most people know who Dolly Parton is.
Yeah, but don't forget, most of the people are Gen Zers or Gen Alphas.
Even some of them know who Dolly Parton is.
Yeah, and
she's pretty popular. Everybody knows who Dolly Parton is. Oh, yeah, and Dolly Parton was the one that she originally sung and wrote the famous Whitney Houston song, I will love you forever, or something like that.
It's I will always love you.
I will always love you. That's the one.
But one thing, who'd sing it better though, her or?
Okay, well,
Whitney Houston.
we'll get to that later when we get towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, well, like I said, it starts up with our narrator, played by Jim Nabors. If you don't know who that is, he played on a show called The Andy Griffith Show. He played Gomer Pyle.
Yeah, that's what Charlie was saying when we first started watching it.
Well, I know because I grew up watching it because of my dad. And also MASH.
Yeah, so he's narrating talking about the best little whorehouse in Texas, basically.
In a small town.
And how it started off as just a brawl. Just how it started up, and then how it ended up getting the name the Chicken House.
Chicken Ranch.
Or Chicken Ranch, because when I think it was the
Depression.
When the Depression hit, the only way that the men could pay to be with these women was if they would bring chickens.
Well, it was pretty much a trade.
It was 1 chicken per lay, I think is what they said.
But in my opinion, that is a good trade if you look at it.
Yeah, one guy came in with 2 chickens. So,
Be surprised if he came in with 3.
I mean, there probably was. But by the time, the Depression had ended and everything, they just had this huge ranch of chickens. And that's how they got their name, was Chicken Ranch.
Yes, and pretty much there's a little music number going along with it, and growing out through the years of everyone pretty much going there and fucking and everything. But close to the end of the song, the housemaid, she said, "Y'all come back now, you hear?" And pretty much in the southern term, that's hey, if you ever want to come back, go right ahead. But to them, that was like an open invitation. I'm like, I feel sorry for her now.
Yeah, so, I mean, when she said that, they all just turned around and just ran back inside.
Yeah, I still feel sorry for her. I hope that house lady is paying her good.
Yeah, so it talked about how this one woman owned it and she had died. So then she had left it to her best working girl, her name was Mona, who was played by Dolly Parton.
And pretty much they do another little musical number about nothing going around at the place, just pretty much an innuendo anyways, and how she runs her house. Then, it goes back to Burt Reynolds' character, how he's a sheriff. He can be a nice guy, talk to you first.
But he has a temper.
Yeah, like he was trying to get a donkey off
It was off so The donkey had been sitting on this woman's car, and the woman's car, or the car that belonged to the woman, was the woman who owned the brothel or the chicken ranch. And then that's when it talks about how she died and everything, and how Mona took over.
Yeah.
But then we find out that Mona and the sheriff have been meeting. I think it was like every week, every afternoon. She was meeting at his house, and they were basically just having some fun. I don't know if he was paying her or anything like that.
I don't think he was. They had they still kind of have like a fling with each other.
Yeah, but apparently, from what she had said, was something about he was going to be going over, because this takes place around Thanksgiving, like close to Thanksgiving, the holiday seasons, and he said something about, or she said something about he was going to be going over to some girl's house for Thanksgiving, and
I think that was a front just to keep appearances.
I don't know,
but that, and also, can you really have Thanksgiving in a whorehouse?
Yeah.
You can, but
you can have Thanksgiving wherever you want, Mike.
Yeah, until someone eats a drumstick and be like, "Hey, let's go in the bedroom."
I mean, that's sometimes how it happens.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out.
Because you do know that most babies are born like around September, right?
Yeah.
And that's when babies are conceived, around the holiday season, when people can't go outside.
Either way, we get it. At least they didn't use the chicken bone as a butt plug. Anyways.
I don't think that would work anyways.
No, but anyways, back to what we were saying.
Yeah, so she had bought this lingerie that she was modeling for him. And then she told him, hey, I have some lingerie for new underwear for you too. And she gives him like this oh god.
It's some kind
of. It looks like a Speedo with snaps on the side for it to be taken off easily. And she's like, I spent $20 on that, so you better wear it. And he fought her, and then he did wear it.
Shamefully.
There was a funny part though when she came out of the bathroom and he was pulling down his pants, and then he just like starts waddling over to her with the pants still around his ankles. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was, and they do a little musical number. Not bad.
That song, I know I've heard it somewhere.
It could be anything. Hell, you never know.
I was sitting there thinking about it, and because they were talking about it, it almost sounded like it was the melody to 9 to 5.
It could be. It could have been like they used the melody, but they just.
Yeah, they were talking about like sneaking around with each other.
And after that, Deputy Fred or Gomer Pyle shows up, tells what's going on, and they go to the city hall because some news reporter played by Dom DeLuise.
His name was Melvin P. Thorpe, and he had this show called Watchdogs.
And pretty much it's just one of those news reporters that trying to protect the public eye. Like during the 80s where when video games was a hit and they said video games cause violence, and you get all the soccer moms worrying.
I mean, this movie did come out in 1982.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
That's what he is. He's pretty much giving a news report in a false advertising way.
Yeah, so they hear about it, and the mayor is like, hey, we can't have this happen because, Chicken Ranch is like everybody, like all the men go to Chicken Ranch. All the women apparently are okay with it too.
Well, I think it's the one time they'd be like, yes, freedom.
Yeah, so he goes to Houston. The sheriff, Ed Earl, goes to Houston to talk to Melvin P. Thorpe. And you just see how fake he really is. Like, he's wearing a girdle, a corset. He's putting a sock in his pants to make his man bits look bigger.
Pretty much like how
he
women put tissues in their bras.
Not all women do that. We have things called push-up bras.
That works too.
It's still, we're not putting anything in our bras. Just lift them up a little bit.
Hey, elite. Yeah. Well, there's nothing for guys that push their dicks up. So.
I'm sure there are.
There is.
No one wants to see your dick out, anyways.
No, I think there is. I don't think we want to mention it right now.
So, anyways, you see him putting on this thing on his shoulder pads to make his shoulders seem broader, and like
everything during the '80s, everything has shoulder pads.
And Ed Earl is just sitting there like,
what the fuck,
dude? And like he keeps talking about, like, hey, don't run your report on Chicken Ranch because, he basically wants to protect Mona.
And he does, and he's saying, I bet you your granddad, your dad went there, and he's like, nah, I'm from New Jersey. I'm like,
yeah. So
wow.
So then Melvin's like, oh, I'm not gonna do it. I won't talk about it. And then he takes him to this room where the sponsors would sit, and then he proceeds to do the show on the Chicken Ranch.
And there was a musical number, of course. And
wasn't it like called something like there was a whorehouse in Texas or something like that?
Texas has a whorehouse.
Texas has a whorehouse, yeah.
And pretty much he's treating it like it's something bad, trying to get the people underneath their skins. People are idiots, don't believe in anything. So kind of like every political news outlet ever.
Yeah, so then
and Joe Rogan.
Yeah, so then it does start to get out that this little town had Chicken Ranch.
Or has a whorehouse, yes.
Has the Chicken Ranch.
Okay, whatever.
And I'm trying to stop from saying whorehouse as much as possible. So we'll just call it the Chicken Ranch because that's what it's called. And so they go out, So then Melvin P. Thorpe and like all of his TV crew show up in their little town, and it's trying to get people like to go against it, and like they're not really caring because they're just like, okay, whatever, because they know about it, like because it's not a secret, and
it's like, dude, we know.
Yeah, so the sheriff had shown up, or the deputy had shown up at the sheriff's house, at Ed Earl's house, while he was there, and was like, hey, he is here in front of the courthouse doing shit. So they go over there. He gets into an altercation with Melvin, where he like he doesn't punch him. He pushes him into the fountain. He pulls out his gun. He curses at him, and after that, like, him and Mona had gone to the lake like they used to do, and they reveal that she hadn't slept with another man, that he's been the only one that she's been with for a while, and she's been the only woman that he's been with for 3 years. And, they're talking about, like, their hopes and dreams and stuff like that, and how he wants to join the legislature and stuff like that, and they go back to his house, they're doing it, and the mayor calls him and was like, hey, you need to turn on the TV. He turns on the 11 o'clock news, and Melvin P. Thorpe is on there, and he's just talking about how, the sheriff in this town he's accepting bribes, and he's, doing this, and this, and he assaulted me, and stuff like that, and he was bleeping out some words and stuff like that, and basically just making it look bad, making him look bad.
That sounds familiar too.
Yeah. So, they decided that they should ask Mona to shut down Chicken Ranch for 2 months. So he goes out there. He asks her. She's like, "Okay, we'll shut down for 2 months until this all blows over." And he's like, "Thank you." Well, they had a game. So now we're up to Thanksgiving. They have a game that's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And
think it was what, the University of Texas or something like
something
that.
like that. And they had said that if they had won the game, then they were going to take the seniors to
The Chicken Ranch. And they do another musical number.
in the locker room after they win. And
let's just say, didn't. How can we say this without being offensive?
It looked kind of
Just say the. Shall we just do the hand motion or something?
Let's just say that it looked a little suspicious. I don't know how many of those guys that were doing the number were straight. But I did bring something up to my boyfriend about it, and he agreed with me. So,
let's just say, have you seen the movie of Springtime for? Have you seen the movie The Producer and the musical number called Keep It Gay? That's pretty much that musical number in the movie.
Yeah. So, they do this musical number. They're going off to the chicken ranch. They get a flat tire on the way on their bus. And then this little old man driving this pickup truck picks them all up and is driving them to the chicken ranch. They get to the chicken ranch because they decide to go ahead with the party because she's like, well, what if we just turn away regular customers but have the party anyways? So all the girls come out in like prom dresses and they're dancing. And I noticed that they paired the one black guy with the one black girl there that they had.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I'm sitting there and I like get real close to the TV and I was like, they just pair the one black guy with the one black girl? And Charlie's like, yeah, I think so. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I'm like, well, you can't do that nowadays.
Yeah,
that's fucked up.
One of the guys was flirting with Jewel, which is the handmaiden or whatever.
Yeah, I think they call it Porky too.
Yeah, well,
not even better, not better.
Ed Earl called her Porky, but then she's like, I lost 6 pounds. That was at the beginning of the movie.
But, yeah. But still, they do their whole spiel, their dance, and they go do the D.
Yeah. And even the old man that brought them was getting in on the action. So
he's like, hey, I brought him here. I might as well get something for myself.
Yeah, so while that's all going down, Melvin P. Thorpe is sneaking into the chicken ranch with his camera team, and then they start exposing everything. I saw so many titties. So many naked titties. So if you guys are into that, you can watch this movie and you'll see boobs, but you can find those for free on Google now.
But yeah, but do they really want to see titties from the 80s though?
What's wrong with seeing titties from the 80s?
Yeah, just because they'll make it think how they look nowadays. So just putting that out.
Some people like those.
Okay, right now, either way, Melvin, you gotta think Melvin P. Thorpe did cause a crime. He broke in and entered.
Yeah. He broke in. He's taking pictures without people's consent. He did catch the senator was also, or I think it was the senator.
Senator or some kind of.
It was some elected official. He also was getting in on this. So then he's being exposed for this.
And
then
it's just everything was coming apart. Ed got mad, telling Ramona off. Then.
Yeah, they got into a fight, and she called him a boy, and then he called her a whore. And
not cool.
She turned around and she looked at him, and you could tell that what he said deeply hurt her because she started to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he said, or being a boy is better than being a whore, or something like that.
Either way, he goes, talk to the governor, pretty much, hey, stop. Like, he's going down there, tries to stop her, but before that, the governor does a little musical dance number called I Like to Dance the Side Step. And what he's like, people are asking him questions, and he's just giving them
like vague answers, no answers, just like every other politician.
And I'm like, this scene, and I was like, huh. like every other politician. I'm like, wonder
Sounds very
very
familiar.
familiar. I'm like, wondering what the. But still, I digress. He goes. Ed Earl's there trying to stop him. He's telling him what the Chicken Ranch did for the community, right? Mona paid for the baseball uniforms for the little leaguers. She's paying no health care, whatever, right? Just to help out the town and everything, paying taxes. And he's like, you should be a public official. You make the whorehouse sound like it's a professional job or something.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, people have voted against the Chicken Ranch. So then they did have to shut down the Chicken Ranch. So, all the girls are singing. This is where Hard Candy Christmas comes in.
Yes, and this is actually a Dolly Parton song. Just go, YouTube it; it's really good.
Yeah, so they all have to, it's probably Christmas time at this point. Oh, yeah, so the whole thing with when the kids or when before everybody got caught with at the Chicken Ranch, you did see Ed Earl at this one woman's house with her son. And apparently what it is that I don't know if they were like really dating, but Mona had mentioned something about her being his in-town wife, and her son was like his in-town son or something. That woman was obviously in love with her, or not her. Sorry, she was obviously in love with him, but of course he's obviously in love with Mona.
Pretty much, Ed was just using her, pretty much.
Yeah, to like basically keep up appearances.
Yeah,
in town.
And pretty much everything, whatever happened, she's still mad at Ed, but the girls say, hey, he went all the way to Houston or whatever to try to stop it, and he did that.
It was Austin.
Austin, whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did get a punch in on Melvin P. Thorpe.
Took his wig off.
Yeah, and then he punched him after the governor or whatever was like, yeah, we can't save the Chicken Ranch.
No, because everyone. But they were doing there was part of the movie when they were doing news clips, and everyone was trying to say, nah, it's fine. Like, even one guy with a bushy beard was like, no, like, a guy will go out and get any kind. It's better that they go to them because they go to doctors. I'm like, you're not making it better, bro. You're not making it better.
I mean, he did make it. He did make an argument saying, like they would, if they didn't get it from them, they would probably go out and say someone, which isn't cool.
Not cool.
But I mean,
not condone that.
Yeah, we're not condoning that. I'm just saying he does bring that up at one point, and I was just kind of like, okay.
Okay, yeah.
But
and even the old lady was like, no, she's like, my husband went up there
every Saturday,
and she was thrilled about it, and I guess he also learned a thing or two, and I'm like, I think for her it was like, finally I get a break from him.
Yeah. So, anyways, all the girls leave. And then it was just Mona and Jewel, and they were loading up their little U-Haul trailer because they were also moving because they had to board up the Chicken Ranch and everything. And Ed Earl comes out and he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry for what I said." Well, he said that over the phone when he called her to shut her down. But then he was like, "Hey, I love you. I want you to marry me." And then they sing I Will Always Love You. She does.
And
okay, so Dolly Parton has a very good voice. But Whitney Houston has much of a stronger voice than Dolly Parton does.
Well, let's just...
So it works for Whitney Houston, but it also works for Dolly Parton because it's softer in a way.
I think what it is with Dolly Parton, I think it's better for the movie when she's doing it in the movie because it's a soft, sadder moment. That's what maybe it's good for her. But when you're trying to bring the house down in the concerts, that's when you need Whitney Houston.
Yeah, Whitney Houston, she did a phenomenal job with the song. But also Dolly Parton, also did a pretty good job with it. It's just a shame that people know Whitney Houston as, that's a Whitney Houston song than a Dolly Parton song, but it was originally Dolly Parton's song.
Yeah, well, what do you expect? I have a lot of friends and everything. They thought Whitney Houston wrote that song. I'm like, no, she didn't.
It was Dolly Parton.
It was Dolly Parton, and I'm like,
I think she wrote it in the 70s.
And a couple of them were African American. They're like, no. I'm like, dude, Google it, and I'm like, mm-hmm. Looks like your favorite song was written by a white woman. And be like, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. So, they do end up getting married. He does end up joining the legislature. Ed Earl does.
Gomer Pyle becomes the new sheriff.
Yep, and that's basically it.
I give the movie a 5 out of 10. It's one of those movies that you enjoy to watch if there's nothing else.
Yeah, I would give it a higher score. I probably would give it like a 7 out of 10.
Well, either way, it
wasn't bad.
I do love the musical numbers, so I'm gonna. I do like Sneaking Around. That was a good one, and the ending. So
yeah, it was. So that's why we did this video, because it had like that
weird vibe
to it. So you can. I think the only place you can watch it is on Fandango. You'll have to rent it. Because I don't think it's on any streaming services.
You can get it on Prime, but you're gonna have to rent it from Prime too.
Okay, well there you go.
But besides that, yes, give it a watch. I recommend it.
It actually wasn't that bad. So Mike has been wanting to actually do a review on that video or on that movie for a while now.
Well, come on, might as well do it.
Yeah. So next week's hint is going to be: beginnings are scary. Endings are usually sad, but it's the middle that counts. So,
yep.
Stay tuned for next week to see what next week's video is going to be. And I do believe. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and say it. Happy early Valentine's Day. It will be on Friday. So, you guys have a good day, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.